Well, I was first diagnosed in December 22 after what I'd say a short feeling of being unwell. After a CT scan, it showed that I had bowel cancer, sigmoid cancer. It all happened very quickly. That was the beginning of December, having the operation beginning of January. I thought it was going to be quite a quick process, be back up on my feet in a few weeks' time kind of thing. He explained it was going to be a simple operation, a resection, no need for a stoma bag, which I was quite relieved about at the time. Played a lot of sport all my life, so very fit, I'd say, for my age. Follow-up appointment, they told me that the cells that they found in the biopsy of the tumour weren't great, so advised to go on a 6-month course of chemotherapy. So I agreed to do that, because it explained to me that it wouldn't be too much of a disaster, if you like, or too much of a pain, although the side effects were all explained at the time. So I started the chemotherapy, and after about 4 months of the chemotherapy, didn't make it to the end, became severely ill, very short of breath, struggled to walk up the stairs, initial diagnosis of having a clot on a lung, readmitted into hospital that evening with multiple clots on both lungs, one in my pulmonary artery. So that put paid to the chemotherapy. At that stage, they didn't think it was provoked by the chemotherapy, although some sectors said it was. So I sent my oncology team to have a full PET scan just in case there was any more nasties around. It was found then at that stage that I had cancer in my prostate, to which I was diagnosed with the following December. So a year on the anniversary from the bowel, it was prostate. And at that time, they also found a tumour in my bladder, which turned out not to be cancerous. But from there, again, it was another roller coaster. There was infections. And so it all happened so quickly. But although a year can be seen as a long time, I never had the moment of peace, if you like, because of the chemotherapy, then the embolism, and then the prostate cancer. So it's that kind of stage where after the treatment for the prostate, which I say was low grade, caught it early, so that's active surveillance. It was kind of, what do I do now? I was left to my own devices to a degree. Again, being a sportsman, I tried to work out at home, do bits and bobs. I've got an exercise bike. And it was just on one of my colorectal follow-ups, really. I was asked how things were going, and I just said, I just feel as I've hit a brick wall. My fitness doesn't seem to be getting better. I don't seem to get any stronger. And she just said at the time, have you heard of the Wellbeing Group? And I said, no, what is it? And she explained to me quite clearly what it was. And also it was a gateway to a 12-week session in a gym. And of course, my eyes opened up. I thought, this is going to be good for me. This is exactly what I need. So then that led to a meeting with a guy from the Cancer Rehab Physio Group. Spent a good hour with him, very informative, made me feel comfortable, explained a lot of things, listened to me, because at the time I was struggling with tiredness as well, which he explained was fatigue and not tiredness, which for me was very hard to take. I was getting very frustrated with it. Friends and family, however kind they're trying to be, they would just say, why don't you go to bed earlier? You need a bit more sleep. Your body's been through a lot. But it doesn't work like that, which is what I found out. Started the Wellbeing Group when I met, the guys in the December of last year. Absolutely fantastic. Can't talk of it highly enough. You sat in a room with 10 other people. Not once did we talk about our own illness or condition or whatever you want to call it. But psychologically, it was brilliant. It helped me deal with fatigue, which is my main aim. That was the big thing for me, the frustration. And when Carl, one of the instructors, went around with the basic exercises, I thought, this is going to be a breeze. But I struggled with it big time. And I just felt so unfit. Again, that's another thing we learnt, don't live in the past. This is what you're like now. This is the way forward. And so that's why I decided to go into this group. And it was just fantastic. Now that's led me on to another exercise group, which I go to weekly. When I was diagnosed with the cancer, it was just difficult to comprehend because it happened so quickly. And even at that stage, it still didn't sink in. And then I think because everything happened so quickly after that, even to this day, even after all I've been through, it's perhaps just the way I am. But it still hasn't sunk in that I'm going through a whole cancer thing.